So we begin these cool questions. Something like talk. Okay. Sharul Azrai, whose Twitter handle is Ajay on the Run. I feel like celebrity reading me tweets. You guys see that? It's like that. Okay, so what are the top 3 spending mistakes during growth? You know, maybe Ross and you guys can take a crack at it. Top 3 spending mistakes during growth.
Top 3 spending mistakes. Top 3 spending mistakes. It's very easy to spend on stuff that you see as working for other people, and you don't have strong data. So it's very quick for you to go in on Google Display Network and start, just buying display ads all over the place, and you start seeing impressions. But then, if you don't track the conversions right, you start realizing that you're not making any money at all. You're burning through a lot of cash. The other thing is on search. It's also really easy to start spending on search. I think Juan was talking about this earlier. Also, you can start spending on broad keywords if you don't have anybody experienced managing it. And you start going into it, you just buy broad keywords and you just put like a massive bid. And you will get clicks, but it will definitely not be optimized, and you'll start burning through cash a lot. And this is something actually we have experienced as well. The other thing is also Facebook. iMoney uses a lot of Facebook, and it's also easy to go a bit crazy on Facebook, because you will see a lot of clicks, a lot of impressions, and if you don't manage the objective of the post right, you'll start seeing a lot of your spend going towards people commenting or liking or clicking on a photo if you don't set it up right, and that won't get you any real results. So yeah, it's really easy to spend money.
Yeah, for us, I think we depend a lot on Google AdWords and Facebook for our installs. I think you can spend very easily on...
Can someone jack up the volume a bit? Sorry, just jack it up a bit.
Yeah, so you can easily throw money on AdWords, and you'll see traffic coming through. But like what Ross said is, if you don't monitor it closely enough, your conversion rates might not be as high. You'll see traffic coming through, but if you don't have the right metrics set up, you spend more, but you wouldn't really see the ROI on your spending. On Facebook, for example, we use it for getting people to download our app. You can spend a lot there, and it'll literally shoot up go over the budget. So that requires a lot of constant monitoring. Someone has to be doing it daily to make sure that when you spend, you're actually targeting the right. You're sticking to the right budget. And after a day or two, you realize that you're spending too much. You're going to just stop it and start something new.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a really good question from Lai Mei Ling, Twitter handle Lai Mei Ling. What if there is no budget to start any paid traffic campaigns? Who wants to take a crack at that?
So, if there's no budget, then I would go raise money or be prepared to spend a lot of time writing articles and blogging and whatever, and doing social media, and you better be very good at it. So that's kind of how it goes. You cannot build this business without any of these type of businesses without traffic, so you will need traffic. How you get it? I recommend paid. If you don't have money for paid, then you have to work for it.
I think there's something to be said about PR stunts as well. So the way to think about it is that you do a couple of PR stunts, like you mentioned, like content marketing. You have very little budget, run certain contests, come up with different PR angles, hit different presses, work with friends who are bloggers. Just bank for any kind of traffic, like hustle for any kind of traffic you can get. Now, once you get those traffic, if your business happens to be transactional and you sell something and make a bit of money, plow it back straight in, right? And you start that growing. And that's probably how most of internet marketing companies, that's how you do it. You just keep recycling the cash.
For us, we didn't have any money when we started, but because competition wasn't that strong, we did a bit of SEO. We did that right, and it was enough to sort of prove the model. People were coming to our site only because we had a better user experience compared to the competition. People were more comfortable using our site, and that helped sort of prove the model for us to go to investors and tell them like, look, there is a business model here. So that helped, and then that sort of got us money to put into paid traffic.
Yeah, don't be afraid of bartering. So if you know anybody who has a website, who has traffic, barter something with them. So tell them, give me a spot on your website, give me a banner, an article, a mention, and then in return you'll give them something in, maybe it could be like Khailee said, it could be affiliate style, where you give them a cut of profits, or you say I give you some like banners on my site, or I know you may think it's worthless, but if you promise them something, if you work something out that is sort of equivalent in value, you give banners for a longer period of time than they do. It might work out for you. We still do this actually.
One of my other startups in Singapore, they it's one of the secret tactics, so I don't attribute it to the startup. But so what they do is they reach out to a lot of their customers under the guise of market research. So they're saying, oh, we need to talk to 100 of such people for our research, right, to get some feedback on our product. But actually, they're talking to their customers. So it gives them a license to just email them and tweet them out of the blue, and then they actually have a pretty high conversion rate, like 30% on cold contacts, right, just to get them. And out of the 30% people who replied, they got the first 2 customers, and that helps us get the ball rolling. So I guess those are a couple of ideas. That also helps answer this guy's question. His handle is Think Inc. Thing, right? He asked which are the top 3 marketing channels for startups without breaking the bank, right? So I think we talked about a couple of those. All right. Next interesting question on Twitter. Okay, this is a tricky one, and I think maybe CatchThatBus has a lot of knowledge about this. Ian Ng from the Twitter handle Ian Ng89. I guess we know how old you are. Ian 1989 asks, which channels have been proven most effective for mobile apps based on your experience? So since you've been hardcore mobile app, right? Which channels have been proven most effective?
I think the easiest to set up and the easiest to sort of just experiment is Facebook. It's easy to pick your demographics, easy to do a lot of targeting based on the traffic you have, and you can capture customers, and you can do short little experiments to understand how much you need to pay for each acquisition. So yeah, Facebook is the way to go.
Cool. Okay, so 2 people have been asking this question, right? One is again Khailee Ng, right? Who asked, what is the minimum duration to run an ad campaign before you pull the plug off and say the ad wasn't working? So this question was repeated by Sitch, right? Who asked, what makes the test valid? How do you know when to move on and when to double down? What's the threshold? So they're kind of like the same question, right? When do we pull the plug on the experiment? Juan.
Yeah. So basically, you can do without getting too geeky about statistical significance and things like that. I would say if you, for example, exceed your budget and you didn't get the result you wanted, that means you need to stop it because you really don't have more money for that. But I would say every time I try something, and if I'm trying something to a page that has a 1% or 2% conversion rate, I want to run at least 500 to 1,000 clicks and see how it does. So I normally don't do things in less than 500 to 1,000 clicks. And then if it doesn't work, at all, then I don't try it. If it doesn't work, but I don't try it again and I shut it down. But if it doesn't work, let's say by 10% or 20%, I know I could tweak the ad or tweak the landing page or do some sort of change that will give me that bump. But if I need to get 10x the performance out of a campaign to make it work, then it's that, and you don't want to spend any time on that. So I would say run 500 clicks to 1,000 clicks and see how it works. If you're expecting a conversion from 2 to 10%, if you're expecting a conversion in a landing page, for example, from 30%, and you run 100 clicks or 150 clicks and you want only one conversion, you stop it because you know that all the other traffic needs to convert at 100% to make up for the difference. So I would say, again, if your conversion is sub 5% or 4% what you're expecting, I would go 500 to 1,000 clicks. If it is more like 20 to 30% because it's sign up, or a free trial or something like that, I maybe wait 200, 300 clicks. That's a ballpark. Doesn't mean, you could be more aggressive or more conservative.
So the short answer is just ask one. Right. Okay, so here's a cool question for us. From Thing again, you seem to be on a roll. Do you have to mix online marketing with traditional marketing to accelerate growth? Which one should you spend the most? I think Ross, you can give it a shot because you guys did taxi ads and stuff, right? So what are your thought process behind that?
You can mix, but you have to know that it's very hard to track your results if you do mix your offline and online. When we did taxis, actually it was a while back, and we actually didn't get a lot of direct traffic onto our website. So from that point of view, it didn't work. But our objectives for that were a bit different. So we were trying to reach out to banks and sort of get people who work in banks to be aware of us. So we had different objectives with that. I would stick to online as much as possible so that you know that you can actually get results. iMoney, we haven't done anything offline since the taxis, as a learning out of that. It's great for awareness offline, but until you have a lot of cash to burn, I would not really advise so much to play around with that.
It's so funny because you guys started with taxi ads almost, right?
Yeah, that's because I wasn't here. But I would say don't do that shit. So stick to stuff that you can monitor very closely. Unless you get it for free, then if it's free, then do it.
Yeah. Anyone else want to take it back at traditional versus online and mixing them both?
I think it really depends on your demographic. If you're dealing with a unsophisticated customer, in our case, I think they fall in that segment a huge amount. So brand presence, I think, does make a big difference because that builds credibility and trust. So I think we are planning to do a mix of online and offline marketing. And build that credibility up for our branding.
Maybe you talk a bit about what you see as your customer journey, right? And where would you spend your traditional? Just to give it a bit of flavor.
Okay, I mean, as I think for what we do, we sell tickets for intercity buses. So the most obvious place would be at bus terminals, and really target customers who are at terminals. So literally. Having a team down there and educating people that they can actually buy tickets online or using a mobile app and telling them look, why come to a bus terminal when you can just do it from home. So it's also dealing with fears of online buying. Again going back to the point of building credibility because a model like us, we're not in the US. In the US, it's very common to sell hotels, flights, but in the bus space, it's not a very common thing to do. And so that is why I feel like it makes a big difference when you go on the ground.
I think of two things when I think about offline versus online. The first thing I think about is that how critical is what you're doing in the customer purchase journey. So to give you a story, I was at the ES Stanford thing with some of the startups. Coincidentally, I happened to be in San Francisco and I was having some kind of mentor sessions and stuff with some of the companies. And FlexiRoam was part of the group. Now the folks at FlexiRoam, they sell a roaming package, right? And they buy stores in airports. Very expensive traditional marketing investment. They actually have a FlexiRoam shop at KLIA and a lot of these airports. And so I asked them how do you know how that's converting or not converting? And then they said they don't know But what they realize is that a lot of their business travelers obviously travel through airports, and that's obviously, they're selling a business traveler SIM card. While they don't go in and buy the SIM card at the airport, what happens is that their other sales team goes to companies and sells those companies that says, hey, FlexiRoom is good for all your 500 staff, all your 600, 900 staff, all of them should be. If they're traveling, they should use FlexiRoom. And what those bosses would used to ask them, FlexiRoom, never heard before also, never seen before also. So they can't trust it because they haven't seen it before. And then so now, because they advertise in the airport, they show in a PowerPoint slide. There, you see, we're in about 8 different airports, the shop everywhere. And I'll say, here at the airport. So it's kind of like a hygiene factor as part of that consumer purchase journey. It's critical that it seems like a big company if they're doing enterprise sales. So this ties to the point of like knowing your demographic, right? Knowing what's really important to them in their customer purchase journey. The second thing I think about is that where are you as a founder in your startup journey? Meaning, if that you have not raised any money and you're trying to get your first 10 customers, your first 100 customers in your door for whatever product you're using, and you have zero money, but you have a lot of time. Let's say you've got 24 hours because you don't want to sleep, right? You have 24 hours and you have 10 ideas. You spend 6 of those hours on your online ideas. Then you realize, okay, I ran out of online ideas. I've got another 18 hours. What am I going to do? There may be a bunch of offline ideas you can experiment and try. So one founder I co-invest with a lot, his name is Tim Marbach of Asia Venture Group. When he started his first company called Kaufda in Berlin, he and his founders would wake up at 4 a.m. to go flyer door to door. And then I asked him, why would you do that? And he said that, well, because we aren't doing anything else at 4 a.m. And we really, so we meet our first few customers. So they went door to door and they fly door to door, fly door to door, and they did it for many months till they got enough money to spend on other ideas that had more yield than flying door to door. So the short answer to that is kind of like whatever it takes, especially in a very early stage. Now, Tim eventually sold that company in 2 years for $40 million to Kaufda. Right? So whether or not any of those flyers converted, I don't know. But that's kind of like the attitude or the mentality of growth and the willingness to do whatever it takes. So if you think about debating between online, debating between traditional, again, there are 2 things. One, what is it you're doing that's most critical to the customer purchase journey? Number 2, what stage are you at in your startup? Do you have extra time just to do random stuff? So, Juan, did you have anything to add to that question about traditional versus online?
No. I basically think you should do everything that works. And for some type of markets, like we all drank this Kool-Aid of doing internet marketing. But actually, when you think about it, internet is the shittiest way to sell. Like the guys that get the most conversion rate is when you sell face-to-face. Then when you sell in a demo call where they can see your screen and then you can answer questions. Then it's the phone without visual support. Then it's the phone or a webinar one-to-many where you don't answer the questions directly. And then it's the internet where there is a web page and whatever the guy is thinking, you cannot go and say, no, don't think that way or address those objections. So a lot of people here are scared to pick up the phone, to have chat. They're scared to do some offline activities and actually visit customers. I think that's a mistake. I think we were with CatchThatBus and doing with Facebook and doing a lot of experimentation to get people to download the app and actually have that aha moment and experience. And I believe if you go to somebody that is in a bus terminal, that is dirty, noisy, and waiting for 30 minutes in a queue, and you say, hey, give me your phone, let me buy a ticket for you, a 10 ticket for you. And you see, I just bought it, here's the ticket, it's a present for CatchThatBus, just install the app. And you just gave them 10 ringgits worth of a ticket, plus a nice experience, plus a present they will tell other people about, and then a Facebook install, maybe it costs you 3 ringgits, 4 ringgits. So actually, the offline economics are not that different. it sounds harder because you gotta do it with aircon and in your desk and looking at a computer. You actually need to go to the bus station. But I think it's a lot more effective, and I'm really happy. Like, I think we talked enough that you will be seeing CatchThatBus girls in the bus stations soon.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I think you brought up like telemarketing, right? Like what we found at 500 is that a lot of the companies who experimented with telemarketing are actually really surprised by how affordable it can be once you really tune it up. So that answers another question over here by Steve Barnes, Twitter handle T00TY2000. He might be a bot. So he was asking, what was the most surprising, effective or ineffective advertising channel for businesses? And internet companies often overlook telemarketing, just picking up the phone and calling a bunch of leads and setting up the machine. Okay, so there's this dude over here, his name is Bima Satra. His Twitter handle, Bima_ST, kind of like Bima Street. I didn't answer his question, so he decided to take a picture of us, and he just hashtag it. Without any words, he's just like, boom, hey, pay attention to me. So Bima, if you're proud, this one's for you. He asks, is there any guidelines in structuring your ads and ad set, especially with many dimensions in an audience's profile? Well, this is like a technical question. You know what, Bima? I love you to bits, you know that, okay? But I'll have Juan actually reply your tweet with a bunch of resources you can read up, because this is like a deeply technical question. And for those of you following the tweets, you can go take that up too. Or you can just tweet Juan the same question. Okay, there's one question here I thought was really crazy. Chan Jin Y, Twitter handle @JINWY, asks, Juan, can you share more on viral loops? How can we effectively use viral loops? Now, before I have you answer the question, that is a very good question. Because the entire day, it's almost as though we didn't talk too much about viral loops. I'll give my preface to it. For the past couple of years, this whole viral, let's go viral, virality, right, has become a silver bullet that people look for. They look at their product, they look at their marketing and say that, oh my god, my product's not viral, man. How do I make my product go viral, right? And they try to look for things to actually create that viral loop. Now, viral loops are critical, right, to build. But a lot of people don't realize they get built over time. And even though you do have something going on which doesn't really look like a viral loop, actually it's just your marketing, right? It's just your marketing engine in the first place. You do it well enough over time, it will seem like virality is happening, but a lot of times you're doing a lot of little things. So a lot of stuff that you hear from Juan today and you hear from us today, these are all little things you built in. And one day, people are just downloading your app or using your stuff out of the blue and you're like, whoa, I got viral. So I would say that yes, there is a lot of things you can think about for viral loops, but you cannot, a lot of people use it as a silver bullet, a shortcut that you magically find. I think there's a lot of hard work to go into building your marketing engine, and if eventually it becomes viral, that's a good thing. But meantime, Juan, viral loops.
So I'm not an expert on viral loops by any means, but I want to do two things. First, go and search for 500 startups, weapons of mass distribution, 27 things for referral programs or something like that. It was a talk on, okay, he will link it there. It's the best talk I've seen. The guy analyzed, I think, 10 viral engines, and it's worth your time watching that. And I think the guy knows a lot more than me about that. The second thing, though, I will talk to you about viral loops from a media buying perspective. So a viral loop, it goes viral when the K factor is higher than 1. So basically, every user you bring in buys more than one user. Make sense? So a lot of people say, oh, I don't get a K more than 1, so I'm going to kill my viral loop. Because it's not viral. But if a user invites 0.5 users, and that user is free, it just decreases your media buying cost by a lot. So it doesn't matter if it goes viral or not, if you achieve K1 or not, K equals 1 so not, what it matters a lot is whatever you get people referring to other people, it will decrease your media buying cost anyways. So you should have some sort of referral program if your startup is kind of prone to that and will make sense anyways, because it's free money. It's just, you have a user, if they are happy, they want to tell your friends, just make it easy for them to tell your friends, even though it might not go viral, but at least you will be getting some extra growth from there. And if you get some extra growth, and you know, one click you pay, it gets you maybe instead of 1 user, 1.3 users, guess what? You can pay more per click, you can go buy more media. So do viral or referral engines anyway. I hope you go viral. Most people don't, but you still should do it.
This guy.
I think it's this guy, yeah.
We'll take some questions from the floor. Who wants to ask a question can run up to the mic over here or over here.
I have a question. Does black hat marketing still work in this day and age?
Okay, let me repeat that. So Warren asks, does black hat marketing still work in this day and age? So Juan can speak about it.
So the fact that what I told you there, that you need to keep an eye on growth hackers and everything, it's true. Like, we tend to push the envelope a little bit too much. I wouldn't risk it. If you're starting a company, especially like doing black hat SEO or whatever, I wouldn't risk it. Those things don't last. And normally they try with some way of exploit some loophole that Facebook or Google has or something like that. And you know, what you need to think about is that when you try to cheat on Google or be smarter than Google, you're up against a company that I think last time I checked they had 2,000 PhD, and all the other guys, they probably have more than 110 of IQ, because if they're not, they don't hire them. So you're against 25,000 people that most of them, they will be smarter than you. Imagine 20,000 put all together. So trying to outsmart Google is a recipe for disaster. So, or for short-term profits. So, and I have a lot of friends that do arbitrage and then send cheap clicks to AdSense and do all that stuff, and they make money for a while. And then once that happens to you a couple of times, then you cannot sleep in peace because you're making money but you know you're doing something wrong. So for me, it's not worth it.
For iMoney, we can add on to that. Be very careful about black hat SEO specifically. The short-term gains are not remotely worth the trouble that you will have after that. It's next to impossible to dig yourself out of a penalty. So yeah, just don't do it. Keep an eye on it, because you actually may not know whether your agency or the guy you hired is actually doing it or not. So you just gotta keep a very good eye on what's being done. So if you engage, and SEO is very important. So if you engage anybody to develop your SEO, make sure you know what they're doing at all times. Keep an eye on what links they're doing, what they're doing on your website, so that you can be aware of this. But this is only if you intend your brand to last more than 6 months. If you just want to do a 6-month sprint and then trash it, then yeah, by all means. But anything else, just keep an eye on your black hat stuff.
Okay, so I think we've exhausted a lot of the good Twitter questions. Those who have asked questions, I'm not saying your question wasn't that good. Okay, maybe it implies it some way. But I'll pick a few more just because I don't want you to feel bad. I'm just kidding. But I'm just looking for the questions we didn't deduplicate. Okay, that's a good question here for iMoney. This might probably be from one of your competitors. Chan Jinwai, right? Again, at Jinwai asks, how long do average users stay on your page to read articles or make a transaction? I don't know why that's that relevant. I guess it's interesting to think that because you do a lot of content marketing, like, is that effective, right?
Yeah, that sounds very much like a competitor asking from my GA. On our articles, people spend a fair amount of time because I can't exactly disclose the time of page, but they don't bounce out within 5 seconds. Content marketing is actually really good for us. It's actually a big driver of traffic. So yeah, you spend enough time to finish your article, but you have to keep an eye on people coming in from mobile versus desktop. So keep an eye on the time spent on mobile versus desktop. Because mobile, you'll see that time spent is very short, and if that's the case, it's likely because the content is not optimized for mobile. A lot of our infographics prior to this had a lot of traffic coming in, but time spent was not as high as desktop because it was really not that good looking on a phone. So we've started to address that, so keep an eye on that. And in terms of generating leads, it comes down to how well you sort of plant the links within the article, and how well you structure your article to actually sell that particular product. So there's no harm. I mean, people get very worried about blatantly putting a link to a product that is on your website, but don't worry about that. If you're talking about, we write about 3 best dining cards. If we don't link it, it doesn't really make sense. So it's okay to really try to sell your product via content. It's not something to be worried about. We convert pretty well on that as well, if you're wondering.
Okay, so hey, thanks for that, Ross. Here's a tweet that alerted me. It says, "Too bad Juan's name is spelled wrongly on the slide." Oh yeah, that's right. So I got to credit that fella. What's his name? What is this guy's name? Arya Rajasa Mazda at Rajasa. You get this virtual pat on the back. That's a really good catch. Sorry, Juan. Okay. Any more cool questions? Related to content, it's probably the last one we'll take from Twitter. This girl, oh man, it's such a long stream. Sulin Seo from @Yana Tochiko. She asks, Juan, what are your thoughts on content or affiliate marketing like Taboola, etc.? So I think Ross, if you got something to say to add on as well, because I think you do a fair bit of that. But content marketing, what do you think, Juan? Taboola, Outbrain.
I think it's completely worth it. Actually, what happens normally is when new advertising platforms come out, their rules are a lot more flexible and the traffic is cheaper. So every time a new advertising platform comes out, you should try it out. I think Taboola and Outbrain are amazing because of 2 things. One, people are reading about what you want them to read and they're already interested in the topic. Second, you appear sometimes in newspapers, so in CNN or in Forbes, they all use these things, and now you're associated somehow to the credibility of that particular brand. So I haven't done it a lot, but I know Ross has a lot more experience than me probably running Taboola and Outbrain ads. So, but I think it's worth it. Again, I'm not platform specific. I try to do everything that works.
Oh yeah, iMoney does a lot of Taboola and Outbrain marketing. It's really good. It's well worth the money you spend on it because in Malaysia there's still not a lot of people on it. Like Juan said, new platforms always jump on it as soon as you can. So really, it's pretty good for traffic. For us, we use Outbrain and Taboola, and it gives us a lot of referral traffic on top of that. So people come in via these 2 platforms, they'll read the article and then they'll reshare it. So it's really worth a lot because content is a really easy way to build traffic. In terms of using it for affiliate, it's not that easy to use Outbrain and Taboola for affiliate marketing if you want to drive leads or drive a sale. But you can do it, you just have to track it very carefully. But just know that people who are reading Taboola or who have come in from Taboola Outbrain are in the mindset of consuming articles. They're not really in the purchasing mindset. So don't get too worried they're not converting to a sale. But it's just really good for your content itself. Excellent distribution.
Okay, who else has a question? Can you raise your hand if you've got a pressing question? Okay, so no one has any pressing questions. So, oh, there was? Sorry, I missed it again. It's kind of like missing Juan Martitegui. What's your name, bro?
William.
Why are you?
Yeah.
Were you tweeting me?
No, I don't know.
Okay, you weren't, right.
How effective is like what Richard Branson, like PR stunt and all that? Like, is it relevant to internet sort of marketing?
Richard Branson style PR stunts. Yeah, the last time Juan tested himself jumping from a hot air balloon right into the water. I don't know what was the conversion rate of that, but have you guys done PR stunts which were very effective?
A PR stunt, no. Did you guys?
I wanted him to.
PR stunt, yeah, we haven't done.
You guys did PR stunt?
No, we haven't. We've not done PR stunt. But the value of PR, and let's just go to the value of PR, because the stunt will get you there. PR is really, really valuable, especially if it depends on what sort of target you're looking at. So for iMoney, PR is very valuable for us to get our banking people to see us, to notice us, and to buy from us. So yeah, anything to sort of get PR is good. It's very easy to make a mistake when you try to do a PR stunt. So try to get it, just credibly. Don't try to. You're not Richard Branson at the end of the day, so don't try anything too crazy to get it.
There is I find it an excellent question because there is a place and time and a need for PR, and I'll tell you that it's going to be more relevant. You can make PR stunts very relevant to make a point about your business if you need to. So I'm not kind of mentioning this to brag or anything, right? So I actually did ask Richard Branson himself about this, right? About PR stunts and stuff. And so what he was saying was that Virgin exists as a brand to bring a lot of fun to very boring industries. So Virgin's doing railroads, they're doing telco, they're doing airlines. These are traditionally really boring businesses. So his brand essence, he's introducing fun and unexpectedness to otherwise boring industries. And he's hoping that the unexpectedness will actually make people think about it more often and would convert a younger set of consumers to actually use that brand, Virgin something. Which is why he has actually intentional, replicated strategy over and over again that not just himself, but his PR team does unexpected things on the flights, on the railroads, with the mobile things, right? And they just do unexpected stuff all the time. It's part of the DNA. Now back at Groupon, after we got absorbed into the Groupon organization, we were given some templates, right? Some press templates to run. And so apparently they did a PR stunt in the US where it was grandmother fulfills her, her lifelong dream to travel in a hot air balloon. So 99-year-old grandmother goes on a hot air balloon, and you got good pictures coming down a hot air balloon, crying, "Oh my God, I achieved my dream! Thank you, Groupon." Right? She bought a Groupon. Right? So it's always you can fulfill your lifelong dream when you buy a Groupon, right? So it's kind of interesting, right, as a PR stunt. But that got circulated to all of the countries to say, hey, look for a grandmother or a baby or a kid or something cute and heartwarming, and fulfill their dream with a Groupon. Even though the Groupon might not make that much money, but just fulfill that dream so you can create that PR stunt in every country out there. So we're like, okay, well, who's got a grandmother that has a dream of putting on out there? So we're looking around the office, who's got a grandmother? So I can tell you that these stories only because PR stunts don't exist in isolation. If they do exist in isolation, you get that effect where you could do it, people pay attention, and you don't even know what your business is. But if it's strategic and relevant to your business, you can even replicate this or become part of your brand DNA.
I want to offer a resource on that. There's a good book from a guy called Ryan something. The book is called "Trust Me, I'm Lying: Confessions of a Media Manipulator." It's awesome if you are into PR. So "Trust Me, I'm Lying: Confessions of a Media Manipulator." Read that if you're interested in doing PR.
Okay, so one last pressing question. Going once, going twice. All right. Oh, yeah. No. Okay, never mind. You come later, man. It's all right. We will talk after this. All right, guys. We can stay on stage one sec. For those of you who have been so patient to stay with us, right now, when I first convinced Juan to come down here, let me tell you, Juan had a mother-in-law, right, and kids. and a wife that he had to bring down to Malaysia with him. He's a family man, okay? So he had to bring down his whole family just so he could spend time here for 8 weeks. So that's part of the trade, right? And he's going to be apart from his kids and his wife for another 4 weeks just to be with like Ross and Viren over here. so you know, like, so of course, like Juan was compensated fairly, right, to come over here, and you know, we tried our best to take care of him, you know, but it takes a lot to ask an entrepreneur who's running a profitable multi-million-dollar business to take 8 weeks of his life to just uproot his entire family to come to a different country to live and to help form startups. So I mean, I've got a lot of respect for you, Juan, but let me tell you, like, after working with you in this capacity, you know, like, this is just your generosity towards companies and the care that you put into each and every company every single day is just unheard of. I don't think I've met anyone so generous. So for those of you who have gotten a chance to absorb some of Juan's wisdom, you're kind of lucky. We don't know if Juan's ever going to come back to this country or not in this capacity. We don't know whether the next Cerebro program will follow the same format. That awaits to be with our discussion, right? How we want to do it. And we don't know who's going to come and train. So this may or may not be the last time that you're going to engage Juan in this capacity. Otherwise, you can tweet him and hope he replies back. For Ross and Viren over here, after working with Juan for 8 weeks, like I've learned a lot from working with them too. So as far as comparing these two folks here versus the hundreds of other founders who haven't been through such an intense daily experimentation with growth and all of these things, right? Like I think that these other two guys here on stage are probably a cut above the rest. Top 1% of growth hackers right now, only because everybody else is so like not exposed to it. You know, just kind of backhanded compliment if you didn't get it. So with this, like you'll probably be able to catch Ross and Viren around, right? But they're busy working on their startups, so probably not much. So what I'm trying to say is that these guys are hard to find. Good growth hackers are hard to find. We're going to try to put together the next batch of Cerebro, and Cheryl and the team at MaGIC will reach out to everybody. You tell your friends that it's going to be a good program that can help them. And hope we can spread the word. I have one last piece of advice, which is kind of personal. When I started kind of building out startups, I started with my identity as a product person. So I've been building websites since I was 15. I was better as a product guy, working with programmers and designers. If something was wrong with the startup, like users weren't growing, what I would say is that, oh, maybe our feature is not right. Maybe we need to build another feature. Oh, maybe we're lacking this feature. So if the users aren't coming, I would just like build more features, right? But users didn't come, right? So from an identity standpoint, that's because I was like the product guy, right? But when you look at yourselves, like you guys, especially those of you that are newer founders, it's more helpful if you're kind of like a blank slate and you don't kind of box yourself into, oh, I'm this kind of guy. Oh, I'm the biz dev guy. I don't do this online internet marketing. Like you don't let your identity hold you back. I would argue that if founders today don't adopt the identity of a growth-focused founder, if you're not a growth marketing or distribution-obsessed person, I think that your startup, each and every day you do your startup, you're just leaving money on the table, you're just leaving users out there not even knowing about your product because you refuse to absorb this stuff into your identity. So from an identity standpoint, like you really got to do it. Some people who have limiting belief systems against making money or getting sales or selling, they think selling is manipulative, you know? I used to think like that. I used to think salespeople were these like used car salesperson going out there, buy now, and giving free gifts, trying all kinds of stuff to trick you into buying, right? And that held me back from actually growing my startups. But once I was aware of it, it made it and imbued it into my identity, then I was a completely different monster. You know, some people ask me, you know, hey, wow, you know, like you're such a salesperson. You know, I'm like, no, you know, I never was a salesperson. But I tell you this, the first time I was asked to do sales, I was Googling how to do sales, right? That's what I did. That's my first instinct. And I was reading a whole bunch of stuff which didn't relate to me, but somebody wrote this blog post, there was a programmer who wrote this blog post. He said, the greatest sales to him was sharing what you believe in. And he wanted to get really good at sharing what he really believed in. So the people who build these companies, for all of you who are building your companies, if you believe your product is really good, you should have no excuse and no limits to how effectively and how sophisticated you get with sharing it. You should not hold that back. With that in mind, this is a 1-day version, no, 3-hour version of growth marketing and distribution. If you like this, you're gonna like the next Cerebral when we do it. Maybe it's 4 weeks, maybe it's 8 weeks, we don't really know. And if you like that, you can also do 4 months in Silicon Valley. So by amazing typos, review yourself again, right? So if you like 4 weeks of Cerebral, if you like a few hours of today, like how about 4 months in Silicon Valley? We have a full team of 5, right now, no, I think 4 growth marketing and distribution specialists in the accelerators, full-time, working with companies. You know, a lot of them will be different from Juan, but all of them are very high caliber. And with each and every accelerator batch, we just get better and better at serving companies in growth. The more, because what we found is the more customers they got, higher valuations they raised, the more money they raised, and it's just a very positive loop. So in 3 days, the next batch of accelerator companies in the San Francisco upcoming batch, in 3 days applications will close. If you guys want to spend 4 months working on this kind of stuff, and you think that's going to help your company, you can send your deck to me now and skip the formal application process. I will personally have a look at that deck, have a look at that company, and then I'll do my best to see if I can get you there to spend time on this stuff. Okay, well, the last parting note, there's a bonus. I was just whispering to Juan, right? We're going to have lunch. So I'm going to spend some time with Kendrick of Shopper over there and working on his marketing. You know, he wants to spend some time hands-on working on his marketing. For those of you who have startups who want to spend some time with Juan, come and join us for lunch. Okay, we'll sit there, we'll talk about your startup, we'll work on your startup. And I want you guys to put your hands together for a warm round of welcome for these folks who spend their time. The founders who spent 2 nights taking videos, taking case studies, and I told you, man, Juan uprooted his life to come over here. I want another round of applause just for Juan. Thank you very much. You know, I appreciate it. And hopefully he likes you guys enough to come back, you know what I mean? So you come again for Juan! Alright, so we're going to have lunch in the chillax place. For those of you who want to pop by, see you there. Thank you very much. Have a happy weekend.